Chapter 4, the Patient Bill of Rights and what I do under the Connecting Care Act of 2019, printed and filed March 11th, 2022. When we scroll down, we will see some of the stuff that you can get. Meal services, transportation services, home maintenance. I've fixed her sink. I unclogged the sink. I changed the taps. I changed the mixing valve in the shower. There was a leak from above through the laundry room, made a mess. The drywall had to be torn out. In the beginning, I thought I was just being friendly, but it turned out she needed 24-hour care. You know, I take her to hockey games. I take her to the beach. I take her everywhere, talk to people, have fun, even volunteer coaching soccer. Had a few emergencies I had to deal with. Take her for her diabetic foot care. I am into interdependence, not codependence. I'm a hockey and soccer coach. I help her with some consulting around her issues because she asked me to help her, of her dementias. I help her with homemaking, with house cleaning these days a little bit, not really, but a little bit. Starting to because she's depressed a bit. I have to help her with her laundry once in a while because she's depressed a bit lately. I've always helped her with her shopping. I've been trying to get people to talk about a long-term financial plan for 4 years, but her son doesn't agree with her choice of care, which is not his decision. Even if he is the power of attorney, he has to follow her wishes, and her wishes obviously are making her well, whereas the other option, she'd be sick and she'd be stuck in a nursing home. She'd probably be blind. And she used to let me help her pay her bills. Now, since the public guardian or trustee took the money away for the last year, she keeps getting messages about unpaid bills, and there's nothing we can do about it. Causes a lot of stress for Grace and myself. Of course, I plan her menus and prepare her meals. As diet and exercise are the first parts of her treatment, right? And then, so there's your dietetic services, right? And I should be training somebody to fill in because it's a very one-on-one thing that I do for Grace, and nobody else knows, nobody else has achieved the medical results we have. And since I do have a bad heart, there should be a backup plan in place. It only makes common sense. I help her with her physiotherapy. When they tried to keep her in the hospital for functional decline, she actually was suffering from a sciatic nerve pinch. So I showed her a figure 4 stretch and we fixed it in a couple of weeks. And her occupational therapy, I've dimmed her lights, changed light bulbs, got her away from her walker and her cane. Dimmed her computer and her TV. Pharmacy services, I have her on some excellent supplements, and the marijuana for the mood portion of mood and food, just to mention a couple. Respiratory, she has sleep apnea, so when I check her glucose several times a night, if she's not having trouble breathing, I give her a little shake so she starts breathing properly. I help her with unmet cognitive needs because her family's treating her poorly. They said everything about me. Her son has said that I was stealing money. I was investigated and found not guilty. Said I abused everything he said about me. Terrible, man. I coached children for 25 years and I want to coach them again. I might want to work with another senior or two. He's trashing my name everywhere, so I don't feel guilt anymore talking about him like that. And so if there's a report or a plan to be provided, which you have to provide a plan, right? Then it has to be in an accessible format that meets the needs of the patient or other person, meaning the person helping them, right? And they shouldn't receive any care without obtaining the patient's consent, or if the patient is incapable of the consent of the person who is lawfully authorized. So there's new software that came out in 2019, I think, that doesn't follow this. because if you don't take bathing, feeding, dressing, or turning in the bed to avoid bed sores, you're not eligible for any home care anymore. And that doesn't cover all those other things I was talking about, right? So she deserves the family managed, and what they're doing is, I'm not sure really. So we'll just scoop down here a little bit further. See right here it says, geez, I hate that. To provide funding to or on behalf of an individual to purchase a home and community serve, consider and promote. So they give you the money sometimes. It's right there. Factors to be considered, right? You can get the money directly. And then the patient's autonomy and participation in decision making. The patient gets a say in their care. A manner that recognizes the patient's individuality and is sensitive to and responds to the patient's needs and preferences. The patient gets to have a say in their care. The nurse that comes in to do the assessment doesn't tell you. They give you options. They tell you, here's what you need and here's different ways you can achieve it, right? But not this is the only way, and you don't get care for that. If you don't need a bathing, you don't need the other stuff. So a patient, number 7, has the right to participate in assessment of their needs, development of their care plan, reassessment of their needs, and revision of their care plan. So the patient has the right to participate, right? And then number 8, a patient has the right to designate a person to be present with them during assessments. So every time she's being assessed by these different doctors, I'm supposed to be there with her because she designated me on many occasions. And to try to separate her from me is against the Patient Bill of Rights. The patient has the right to designate a person to participate in the development, evaluation, and revision of their care plan. Grace asked me to help her because she said there was a problem with home care and diabetic care. And we even have a letter from them. They can't help them, right? Turns into diabetes type 3, which is vascular dementia. What they need is one-on-one care in the home. It can be done at a 50% savings probably. And we can create like 350,000 net jobs while we save 1.8 billion a year for healthcare. You'll see that at some point here soon too. And a patient has the right to raise concerns or recommend changes in connection with the home and community care service to provide it to them and in connection with the policies and decisions that affect their interests. The provider of the home and community care service, the agency and its employees, government officials, or any other person without fear of interference, coercion, discrimination, or reprisal. You can bring it all up to anybody without any problem, which is what we're doing right here, right now. So, folks, that's Chapter 4, and that's the Ontario Regulations, the Connecting Care Act, Home and Community Care Services, and a little further down, the Patient Bill of Rights. And the patient has the right to choose their care. This is Canada. This is Canada. We have to follow the Patient Bill of Rights, man. And we can create $350,000 or 350,000 net jobs. We can save $1.8 billion a year. We can eliminate the need for 650,000 nurses because they don't need a nurse to give them 31 hours a week of needles for their diabetes. It goes into the fat of the belly. They give their own needle. But somebody to help them decide on the dosage and the meals and to get the exercise and everything is very, very important. So I hope you're following us on this journey, and I hope you're seeing that Grace has taken all the correct steps to stay out of the nursing home, and I've taken all of the correct steps so that I've avoided, even though accused of and investigated for, I was found that there was no fraud, not only no fraud, no pay. Hard job, man. But I've started businesses before, I've suffered before, and we want to help 100 million people. We want to fix Canadian healthcare. We want to look after these little old ladies. Enjoy.